Well, here it is. For everybody hoping that there would be a sign and trade with the Pacers for Gordon Hayward. That was not to be. He's signing a 4-year, $120 million deal with the Charlotte Hornets. Wow. I am shocked at this, and if it is true that the Celtics get nothing out of this, then it's either a colossal failure by our GM, or it's just the result of another team swooping in at the last second. Or maybe it's a little bit of both. So last night, reports came out that Gordon Hayward was fully focused on joining the Indiana Pacers through a sign and trade. That was the only way they could have gotten him. And then this report came out, so 5:49 last night. It said, Pacers Celtics sign and trade update. Hayward wants to play in Indiana. He's told the Celtics that. So there it is. Indiana is offering Turner and McDermott. Boston wants Turner and Warren or Oladipo. That's a big difference. And there you go. So if it's true that he, at one point yesterday, did want to play in Indiana, then you had a chance to strike that deal right then. And if Danny Ainge said yes the first time they even called and offered Turner and McDermott, I would have been elated. That's the exact package that Celtics fans have been talking about for, the past couple weeks because of the draft and everything. And, I mean, that would have been so perfect to get Miles Turner and Doug McDermott. You get your big, who can stretch the floor, and you get your another bench scorer, a great shooter in McDermott. Kind of like a Kyle Korver light, so to speak. You would have gotten that, and they got greedy. They wanted TJ Warren or Victor Oladipo in the deal, and Indy was not willing to do that. Danny seemed to think he had leverage. He had none, because Indy loses nothing in this. They don't get Hayward, but they don't lose anything. We are the only team here that had anything to lose, and we did. We lost. You lose Gordon Hayward for nothing. And if it is true that, he would have agreed to this right then for the supposed 4 years, $100 million, that was rumored to be on the table for him in Indy, then that is a colossal failure by Danny Ainge to not get anything back. And even if you do, now they're saying Charlotte will now have to make some room available to sign Hayward. It would make sense for Boston to get something out of the deal. Okay, well, none of that is going to be as good as the two players you were going to get from Indy. So already it's a loss for the Celtics. And if Keith Smith says they don't need to do this, Boston, if you want to talk about having no leverage, they really have no leverage now. Charlotte, if they want to add Gordon Hayward, they have to work out a sign and trade with Boston, trade away $7.5 million in salary elsewhere, or waive and stretch Nick Batum at about $9 million a year for the next 3 years. Okay, so assuming that doesn't happen, they have these two things. They could easily do this, okay? Charlotte has to do one of these things to give Gordon Hayward a 4-year, $120 million deal. Not all of them. They could easily trade away $7.5 million in salary elsewhere. And the Celtics are left with nothing. Absolutely nothing. I don't know what to say. It seemed like it was so inevitable that he was actually going to go to Indiana and we were going to get a package centered around Miles Turner back. If you don't, that is a colossal failure by Danny Ainge. That's about as close to a fireable offense as you can get. You have a perfect trade scenario just right there, and you get greedy. You ask for more when you don't need to, and you don't really have the leverage. People are forgetting in 2014, Gordon Hayward signed an offer sheet with Charlotte, and then the Jazz matched it. But he signed an offer sheet with them, and they were one of the only teams out there that could actually realistically give him a contract. Obviously, they still have to get rid of some salary, but if they're able to do that, you're getting Gordon Hayward. They got their guy. He's getting way more money than probably the Pacers were going to want to give him. Listen, man. This is a gross overpay. I don't care what anybody says. $30 million a year for this guy who hasn't played a full year since he got to the Celtics. Now, obviously, I'm not even going to talk about the first one because we all know what happened there, and that was nothing he can control. And really, it's not anything that Gordon can control, but he's injury prone, and that's a fact. He's been injured for the better part of the last 3 years, and he just hasn't gotten anything going. Whenever he has any momentum, or whenever his team needs them the most going into the playoffs, he's not there. For one reason or another, he's not there. And that is the reason that I don't think he deserves $30 million a year, and he definitely was not going to get that with the Indiana Pacers. So this was what you just walked away from if you're Danny Ainge. Miles Turner, Doug McDermott. You walked away from that because you got greedy. If it's true that he wanted to go there, and if he didn't maybe know about this Charlotte offer last night, if he really did say he wants to play in Indiana, you could have said yes to that last night, and it could be a done deal. And it don't matter if Charlotte comes in and says, hey, we would have given you 4 years, $120 million, because then you said, sorry, I've already signed. I'm going to play for the Pacers. He lives in Indiana. His kids are going to school in Indiana. He would have been able to play for his hometown team, and we would have gotten Miles Turner and Doug McDermott. Instead, we're left with nothing. I don't know what to say about this. If we get nothing from a sign and trade, which we might not, it is a colossal failure. It is another offseason of watching the Eastern Conference get so much better and sitting back and seeing our team lose a max contract guy in free agency. I don't know how much longer you can keep doing this. You know, at some point you're going to have to go into win now mode, and I know that he's been so reluctant to do so, but at some point you need to. It's ridiculous that they've let this happen. It's ridiculous that they let this happen. It was right there for the taking, and they did not take it. Inexcusable, unbelievable, a colossal failure. I wanted to come on here and say how they worked out a sign and trade with Indy. They were getting Turner and McDermott back. Would have loved to make that video, but I can't. Because our GM, he got greedy, man, and whatever else he does this offseason, there's going to be a shadow cast over it just because we know that there's an offer he could have had. And again, I could be wrong. Maybe Gordon knew about this Charlotte thing, but that just doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense for all this to come out and Shams to say it himself, and then for nothing to happen, for that to be a lie. That doesn't make any sense. I believe that at one point he wanted to go to Indiana, and we were not able to make this deal. And they were talking for days. And this is the perfect deal. I would have taken that in a heartbeat, and now we are at serious, serious risk of losing him for absolutely nothing, and that is inexcusable. I can't even believe that just happened. So, we'll see what Danny does now. The ball's in his court, and he needs to do something, or else the fans are going to be very upset, and understandably so. They lost 3 max contract guys in the last 2 years. It's insane, and you had a chance to really make your team better. It's unbelievable that it didn't happen. So, see how it goes. Hang in there, everybody, because this is just a mess right now, and I'm very upset. I don't think I've ever been this upset during a video since I've had this channel up. But this one's going up right now, so stay tuned. If I learn anything else, I'll be trying to maybe make a video on that. And give me your take in the comments. You think this is Danny's fault? You think this is Gordon's fault? You think this is nobody's fault? Maybe it's Michael Jordan's fault for throwing this ridiculous sum of money at Gordon Hayward. Other than that, guys, I'll talk to y'all soon.